Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the end of round four of Swiss so far at the ESA Cup Season 9. I'm McCready. Joining me today is Whiskey Run. Whiskey, how are you doing? Because we've got an exciting game and it's a pleasure to have you join us.
Doing great. Glad to be back here on the ESA. I know we worked real hard during season 8, my first chance to join you here on season 9, and very much looking forward to it. And what a great place to join elimination game here on Wednesday to try and figure out who is going to be moving forward here in Swiss.
Yeah, so with this game that we're looking at today, like you say, both teams are facing that elimination, and we can bring up the bracket right now because we don't want to waste any time. Like you say, what we're going to see is Team Asgard, formerly Ghost Army, going up against Team Mxster. You can see them in that 1-2 bracket at the moment. So if they win this, Whiskey, whichever team wins this is going to move up to that 2-2 bracket with the like of Crown Zero, Molotov Gang, Aspire, MG Minions. Whoever loses this, though, they're joining E-Wave and Yuck 141 down in that elimination. So a lot on the line for both teams here, and it's not even safe. It's not even safe waters, even if they win.
Well, and they've got some stiff competition, like you said, Minions, Molotov Gang up in there. Even if they surpass and make it through this elimination game today, the team that wins has got some stiff competition fighting for that last potential spot there in the qualifier. So they've got to make it through the game today, though. And from what I understand, it's a best of three that is unlimited overtime.
Yeah, so when we're supposed to get to the elimination stage, everything has as unlimited overtime in that best of three. And what maps are we going to head to? Well, we're going to have quite an interesting one. We're going to start off on Consulate, one a lot of teams really try to avoid. They're going to go to Chalet, which is a bit more of a comfort pick from Massa. And then we're going to end the day on Nighthaven, provided we do have to go to that final map. And what do you think of that? I mean, Consulate is a star, isn't it?
Yeah, really, for me, Consulate, I am a certified Consulate hater. It is definitely my least favorite map in the competitive pool currently, but the teams definitely, I think, have certainly grown to love this map over time, especially after Oregon left the map pool. And we cast
Yeah.
a lot of the Latin American teams. They love Consulate. NA not so much. So it's interesting to see how is this going to play out in the console league here in Europe. But going to Chalet as a second, that is my favorite map. So very much looking forward to that. I was hoping we might get to see a layer, as that has certainly started to pick up in the competitive scene as well. But Nighthaven's a great place to close it out.
Yeah, I feel like Concert and Nighthaven, just like Lair, it's a map that a lot of teams are starting to come around for. I mean, Concert is a map a lot of teams don't like. So for the side of Asgard to pick that one up, I feel like it's them kind of making a statement saying that they're confident, they know that they're going to win this, and it looks like we are going to be heading into this first map, which is Concert. Like we said, this is a best of three elimination game with unlimited overtime, which means if you are able to force out that overtime, you are going to need to win 2 consecutive rounds in the overtime to move on forward and get onto that next map. So, operator bands, let's take a look at what we're thinking.
Okay, so rolling into consulates, certainly in the year 9, season 3, shields are continue to be a huge part of the meta on PC, and I'm curious to see. We didn't get to see a Monty
Oh,
band out here
they do.
first. Still could be a great place to start from a roam clear perspective. This team master not wanting to deal with her and those annoying phone calls. But you said it going to be shield going to be the next one.
Most likely, I mean, a lot of shields get banned out in this because, like you say, it's on the PC, it's on the console side as well. Shields in this meta very, very dominant, very, very strong. So that's why we're going to see Monty joining the Dockerby. Which, you think about the Boss G and the place it has in the meta at the moment, Whiskey. I mean, it makes entire sense. On the defense, I'm expected to see something like an Azami or a Fenrir ban. Nothing really out there.
And I was going to just take a look at what did we think on the defensive side statistically here in the ESA Cup Season 9. Mira had the top spot at almost 40%, and Valkyrie coming in
Ooh.
second at 26. So the question between maybe that third place is either the Azami or the Mira. And for this map, that's a tough choice. I would probably go with Mira as the ban here. Azami's got a lot of great usefulness on consulate, but oh, you called it out, the Boss G. Everybody hating on the Boss G recently. Here you go. Vigil not going to be an option as we roll through this first map.
Yeah, and the thing that really stands out to me as we start looking towards this top floor, I want to think about that bottom floor. With the mirror, with the Azami both in play when we think about that bottom floor, that's going to be a big problem for the attackers because they have to clear out that utility, have to clear out the windows, and then look at executing. So that's going to be a real pain in the backside later on. But for the time being, we're going to head to this top floor, what a lot of teams tend to kind of find their kind of favourite. But interestingly enough, we've seen Scopus coming out, which is an operator that we haven't really seen too much of in this game.
I definitely
Go
wanted to
ahead.
see more of her as she's made this entrance into the meta, right? Two things stand out specifically for me is one, her gun is unbelievable. That thing is a laser, and we know that coming into year 10, it is going to get a nerf, is the consensus I think in the community because it is so good. It's
Yeah.
people haven't been playing it though, so that's the interesting thought is maybe, the bots have a very distinctive noise. They're a little bit louder than the operators moving around, and in a game where sound is so important, I think that's part of the reason why we haven't quite seen her adoptive rate as high as it possibly could be.
Yeah, and that might be the case. Well, for the time being, though, they are going to be on the board in the hands of Ryan Master. And as the attackers of Team Master will start to look at getting into the site, they're going to start doing their droning, start doing kind of the bare essentials, what you need to do. Get up towards that site, get ready to contest over towards that admin side, get the drones in. They're going to spot those players over towards that kind of midsection with the hatch, as army barricades as well. How are the attackers going to deal with this? How are they going to push these players away? At the moment, that Flores drone is going to have a lot of work alongside these Ash and Twitch drones. And as a result now, information entirely name of the game for Asgard as they start things off.
Working on
And now,
There's that first one coming out. Yeah, they got a little bit of this open, Bandit able to trick it, keeping it closed as it's just a line in as opposed to the ability to actually enter the building, just a sight line, but shut down by the Bandit there. So, like you said, clearing out a ton of utility here on this upper side. They've got to worry about that push in by vending, but there's the Azami blocking off some of those sight lines too. Knew she was going to be an important part of this defensive side.
yeah, exactly. Now, Goldies is able to find another frag as well. The big thing about that breach is that while, yes, that first kill's come out over towards that spiral side, is that, as Yushiro is able to find Donna as well, they still need to get that diffuser. That wall being only a line of sight is a massive thing, because they could get as many kills as they want. They could pick off Ryan, they could try and get another
Whoa!
kill, even though Yushiro, his
Yes.
Tajima's there to stop things out, with Yushiro having an answer. But they still need to get that case down. A minute 15, and Tajima's stuck all the way by themselves in that spiral. They're able to down Tom, but that does give away the position. And now the rest of the attackers are going to start thinking about how they're going to deal with this. Can they get the case? Do they just play for the frags? Surely they go for the frags with 1 minute left on the clock. The gunfights come out, and Yashiro's going to find that first round in favor of Team Asgard.
Yeah, you said it's even with a minute left, they could have certainly spent some time, got the diffuser, worked on finding a way to make that play objective, rather than just engaging Warden directly. But in a 2v1, and apparently playing very aggressive there on attack, could afford to take the chance. But to me, the interesting thing was Warden playing behind the Scopos idol shell. I'm not sure the attacker actually recognized that somebody was behind that. Like, if one of the defenders had was on that cam, it would have been lighting up and potentially hiding the operator playing behind it because it looked like the attacker just walked right up in the warden's face and able to clean that up very quickly. So that was an interesting way that played out. Again, another plus in the column for Scopos, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And now, though, as we go back to this top floor site, it seems Team Master, they're going to want to try this again because there were some good things in that. I mean, they got that case down very early. They were able to take advantage of a couple of oversights, maybe. The refrag game was there as well, Whiskey, from my opinion. But I was about to say Asgard were trying to shake things up themselves and bring out that blitz, but I think they've gone back to the Ash and the Twitch, and they're not really going to change much about this attack, are they? They're just going to do the same thing.
I mean, assuming that they're thinking, okay, this is the way we want to try and run the attack. We can make this work. We've practiced it, and it was just a matter of losing a fight or two early on. And interesting that they want to run it. They did. You've won it once. Why not try that same attacking lineup again? And I like this use of all the extra drones. I mean, Flores, I think, has really increased in the current utility meta in for Siege too.
Hmm.
Just so good at clearing the defensive utility, relatively risk free.
Yeah, exactly. When you think about operators like Azami with that high van rate, well, what happens when they're on the board? Exactly this. The Flores will have to clear it out. The Ash will have to put that pressure in as well. Right now, though, that breach will get opened up again with the Ash of Goldies headed down below. No doubt to rotate over towards Spiral. This time, no bandit triggers come out and no attackers have died so far. So, for the side of Asgard, they're already doing better than they did before. The name of the game here now is droning, clearing out this admin side completely, and then start focusing towards that Visa hallway. At the moment, as Util starts to go out, looks like they are going to try and clear out Don Vito. The entrance from Yashiro is there to try and start this out, but nothing really to follow just yet. Defenders have time to rotate around, but the attackers are also should also be making use of this time as well. Nobody's actually sat on the cam while this happens. They're all focusing on pushing Don out, which they are able to do. Don Mxster, though, will find Goldies, and that will be the first kill in defense.
It's interesting as Zombie was sort of holding on to that small office location, just had that piece of real estate held on. Yeah, the nade tossed in, but it was really nowhere near. I think she could have maybe held on to that position a little bit longer, given the attacking team a little bit of false sense of security. But okay, playing life, rotating back, staying alive to make sure you can keep those Kibas, all of those Kibas, available. 'Cause you need at least that first minute and a half to even get all of them available, but that is case down as well.
Yeah.
That is gonna make it real tough for this 1v5.
Yeah, like I say, it's just no sat now 1v5 now. Everything's seemingly fallen apart for the attacking side as they start to get their go fight. They will find an answer for our master, and that Warden taken off the board. The one that had left her gave him quite a few issues in that last round. But with 38 seconds on the clock remaining, the F2 in hand, and 4 defenders all staring exactly at where they are, it's just not really going to happen. That is Don Mxster closing that round out. The attack and the defense both winning this top floor once. We're going to look at heading downstairs below, and I feel like that round was just a lot slower from the attackers. They didn't really feel like they had that same aggression that they did in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, this time you had quite a few, basically well, still all 5 of the defenders alive there at the 1 minute mark left in the round, but several of the attackers as well. It started to fall apart very quickly at the end, but when you've got the F2 is the only offensive weapon left, going to be very tough. And one of the things you saw right there at the end was went to shoot the Azami, the Kiba barrier, and even with that change they made in the season, the Year 9 Season 2 update to make the Kiba barriers not be bulletproof anymore, it still takes a significant amount of bullets to try and take one down, and doesn't usually seem to be worth that. Plus, gives away your location exactly. So goes to shoot the Kiba to gain a little bit of sight line in, and then is immediately fragged out based on giving away that information. So I think it's a good change to sort of balance the zombie, even though she continues to still be one of the most powerful defensive operators. And her
Yeah.
counter, or her partner in crime there, Mira, showing up here for this first basement defense.
The castle and the mute is just adding on even more steps that the attackers really just don't need at this point. I mean, look at the soft reach that they have on that side. They realistically have Goldies and Yashiro. They're going to be focusing on, and so they're going to focus on dealing with these castle barricades, trying to get a lot of these mute jammers out of the way, whereas they're try and keep a lot of the hard breach for this utility. As you can see, that breach is going to get opened up. John is going to get blocked out by the mute jammer and the impact. He's just going to make sure they can't open that up. It'll happen again. The nade follows, and while that will go through, the C4 does get ripped. It isn't going to find any mark. It does, however, stop that breach from opening up. The attackers have to rotate around, and now the focus is all on this back side. Yashiro's starting to make an entrance, but nothing found just yet, as they only find that brick wall of the castle barricade.
I mean, from the defensive perspective, right, you've got the Miro holding on to the hallway as it leads up to the kitchen and on a soft breach wall. It makes it very easy for her to do the crouch peek scenario. But
Yeah.
even if they've sort of given up from a defensive perspective, most of the secret side of the map, using the castles to slow this attacking team down. And you can see it just Ash working like crazy to open that barricade up, but they still have a lot of work to try and cross the halfway point downstairs. Yeah, they're droning upstairs a little bit here, but from the defensive perspective, everybody except for Legion's already made the rotate back down halfway in, and it does feel like this attack has been a little bit slower.
Yeah, and I feel like that Legion being on the top floor still is something that it's not going to change. We're going to see that coming into play later in the round if the attackers do get on site. Now, though, we are going to see Yashiro focused up against that cafe, and But that last
Oh,
mash charge is not going to be able to take down that mirror window, which
that
means
was huge.
that's going to stay in that position. Goldies is going to be picked off by the mirror and is going to suffer because of Yashira's mistake. Look at that pixel. Oh my lord. Is it
I'm
really
writing
able to
that one
find
down
two
for
kills?
ranked. Look at
I'm
that.
remembering that one, but Don Estas is able to find a kill as well on that top floor, able to lurk, find a pick. Now they've got a kill. They just pushed it back down. They know the attackers aren't going to be going for the verticality, and now they could just get locked in on the defense. 45 seconds ticking down. The attack is going to get more and more desperate as time goes on. More damage goes on to Sizzly from that cafe side. They can't push it unless they're able to win out the gunfight, but then that forces them over towards the spiral side. 30 seconds left. This push has to come through. The defenders all know exactly where it's coming from. And as Tom starts to move forward, the bullet gives them away. Aware of Spiral, realize that they can't peek it just yet. And while Cisno has gone above, the real impact isn't really going to be there unless they can get into the gunfight now. The shots start to come out. The Legion will swing, isn't able to find the kill, but Iron has one of their own. Don Vesta finds an answer, gets a second kill in this side, and the third in the round. Isn't going to be able to find a fourth, but Tajima's there to close it down. And the defense just able to slow the attack completely and just really just get them stuck in the mud there, Whiskey.
This is very early here in this best of three, right? We're only 3 rounds into what could potentially be a pretty decent matchup between these two teams. And one of the things I feel like we're seeing here from Team Asgard is they're not using the vertical to the extent I would certainly expect from a team that's looking to make a big run here in the playoffs, right? They're not spending a lot of time. We've only seen even the vertical up from above on that second floor site a little bit from Ash to
Yeah.
try and clear out the electricity there from Bandit, but like no dedication to vertical, no real pressure on the attacking team in the basement on Consulate. That is a huge miss, I feel like, from this attacking team. So that's two different sites that we've seen that really not lean into. It's going to make, if they make it all the way to the Night Haven, very, very vertically focused map. That's going to make this tough. So see if they change up this play style a little bit as this best of three rolls on.
One would really hope so, Whiskey, because the site that they're going to now is nothing if not vertical based. Yes, there is a lot of focus towards that main area and over towards where you see the Mutant Legion now, looking towards the main lobby, but it is all based on the verticality. If there is not enough attention committed to it, the defenders will have lines of sight like you see already. They're going to be prepped, they're going to be ready, and going to be watching. The attackers, they need to be able to identify that. If they can identify a weak spot in that vertical hold, they can go for a rush plan, or they take control of the verticality. They get that really strong post-plan position they're going to need. At the moment, the question is, are they going to really drone in? Are they going to do that due diligence? And how are they going to deal with that castle and mirror duo once they see it up again on the top floor? And that's going to be a quick frag coming out from Yashiro. Able to find a castle, able to find the warden. Doesn't find Clem, but that is 2 kills off the board already in favor of 1. And with the Ash trade, I'm really happy with that, especially with that warden taken off the board.
Yeah, you lose a bit of the utility in not having the Twitch drones available anymore to try and help clear out some of the defensive utility. But like you said, it not having the Warden available, he's definitely one of those more active players. Castle's got all of his barricades up with that passive utility, but to not have the Warden there, that makes it definitely a little bit easier. You've got Ram has brought the flashes along as the only piece, but still, he's been a devastating force so far in this map. So that was a huge pick, and like you said, great trade there for the attackers.
Yeah, and they might be able to just get a little bit more of an answer here. No, it's going to be Goldie. He's able to find Esther. Running past that shield. Now the verticality in favor of the attack. Problem is, the only person, Tajima, is sat on the yellow stairs. They're not visible from the verticality, which means this shotgun is going to make them very, very lethal. But the attackers have access to sight. There's no cameras at the moment that can see this mute at the moment. As far as I'm aware, that means they're going to push forward, but the flank watch is there, and that's going to be Sizzler taking that pick and taking off that mute. As a result, that's going to be another round in favor of the attackers, and they could do it on this round. I don't know why they couldn't do it on the last. Doesn't matter. For the side of Asgard, they're just going to keep moving forward.
That's right. 2-2 now. Finally, Asgard finding another one. So we know that first floor piano site, it typically had been, we call that the tertiary, but in the way that this map is sort of developed, we've seen, felt like the second floor being maybe a little less friendly To the defense, and that first floor piano site being more of one that the defenders were leaning towards, but in this case, not on the better side there for Team Master. So they're going to lose that first floor piano site, go back up to the second floor where they had a little bit of success. Right, they lost round one, held on to round two, so this will be the third time we get to see the second floor site play out. And yeah, very similar lineup. That combination of the Bandit and the Azami and the Warden as sort of the core, potentially holding on to upstairs, and then the Mute for trying to stop some of this intel. And that's another thing that I feel like we haven't seen a ton from Asgard was, you know, a lot of playing off of intel. They've been taking
Yeah.
engagements, taking those fights, but not really using, the drone utility. I think they're the drone economy that would help them win more of these.
The top floor again. And we are seeing what was teased earlier by Goldies, but it wasn't done before. Is Goldies going to be bringing out that blitz for? Let's be honest with this. There's going to be a very aggressive push. It's going to come through. A window plant is very much on the cards here. They got the Ying, they got the Grim, they got the Buck to go down below and clear it out for C4s alongside the blitz. Vito is going to be the first to fall as Yashiro goes on that roam clear and takes them out. And Sizzo will just sit on the window waiting with those smoke grenades ready to take it out. Yashiro didn't actually get the camera there, Whiskey.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of a miss there, and Mute going down. This you talked about the shield meta being present and prevalent here in the console scene in Europe as well. And Blitz and Goldie showing why it is. Even fighting a Warden was taking the fight and specifically to him in a melee. Wow, let's go.
Yeah, now Don Esther is in a situation where they can win. The plant hasn't gone down just yet, but it's a very difficult situation to be in. But this will make it a bit easier as Yashiro gets taken down. They can look towards that verticality, but as the plank goes down, the Ying, the Blitz, the Glass, this is going to be an almost unwinnable gunfight, and it's going to be something amazing if they are able to pick this up. Time ticks down. You can hear Goldie's already going on the hunt. If they are not going to meet the player of Don Esther on those stairs, then they're going to be ready for the flank. Esther will find that first kill. They know the Blitz is over towards Spiral, but they have to look at retaking this side. They have to just let the Blitz do it. Gonna hit the feet, gonna look for the kill, isn't gonna be able to get it. It's the melee from Goldies to shut things down. And I want to talk in that round about how we saw the Blitz being able to distract the Ying from the execute on Windows where that utility was being used.
Perfect misdirection from the attacking team using all of those. And it's funny that you had the final three operators left alive, some of the most annoying to deal with on attack. The Blitz, the Ying, the Glass, the last three left alive. Pretty crazy that taking down the Warden early enough was going to enable those three operators to really lock down that site. So even if they didn't get that plant down initially, not having the Warden, having those three available, that was going to be a very tough climb back for any of the defense to try and take it. And so 3 on attack here for Asgard, which I think typically we're seeing Consulate be a defensive-sided map. So that's given a little bit of an edge to this team.
Exactly. Now, top floor again. We saw a very, very fast push from Asgard, taking a third round on the attacking side, which is definitely where they want to be as an attacking team, especially on a map like Console, which realistically in this meta it's been more defender favored, but not by that much as opposed to some other maps that you might consider. In this case, though, that round did go in their favor. They tried something new. This time, I think if they try that again, as Team Master are going to be aware that Asgard's going to try and pull those strings. So they're going to go back to admin side, go back to what worked before the first round, and make sure that they don't make the mistakes of the second, where they just really slowed things down.
Just taking a look at those side statistics too. It's sort of tied Consulate in that area along with Layer and Nighthaven. They're all sort of in there by 55, 56% and Bank 55%, all in that group on defensive sided. Skyscraper, the one that is heavily defensive sided, as we all know, that one's gonna hang on there, but not being played today. The big one though is Chalet is an incredibly attacker-sided map here in the ESA Season 9. 61% attacker, so it's going to be a big important one here for which team plays first on attack there for Chalet coming up next.
Exactly. Now that we have to just wait a little bit before we get there because we do have a couple more rounds to go on, but Chalet like you say, promises to be very exciting, with it being the most attacker-sided map in the map pool in this season so far. Now, the attackers, you can see, have made a very good progress over towards that admin side. They haven't used any hard breach to get that admin wall open, and they've just been able to flush out the defense by just positioning and making them uncomfortable. Tom Joe is able to find Vito, gets that first pick on the board as Asgard are looking to push themselves onto a 4-2 split, whereas the rest of the Mxster are going to have to make sure that that doesn't happen. Mxster might be the player to do it on the Visa stairs, but it relies on a couple of things. Misdroning, focus not being there as Yashiro gets taken down, and being able to win out another gunfight. Takes down Tom and is able to just retreat and back things up. Tajima has fallen as well, but as Goldie's pushes through, takes down that wall and sends him into the Shadow Realm. The attackers are able to bring things back. Mxster 10 and 4 over towards that spiral side. Again, put in a 1v3 situation, meaning they will now have 50 seconds. Surely to turn it to 45 to bring this back, and 3 attackers to get dealt with. That's just not going to happen as Sunzo is going to close things down and put us on a 4-2 split as we go to the defense now.
Great round there. Great round coming out from that team. I mean, for the attackers to win 4 on the defensive sided map here, I think we talked about Asgard. I felt like struggling a little bit with the vertical, which was going to hold them back on the attacking side for Consulate and maybe in the best of 3 overall, and struggling a little bit with utility. But their aggressiveness more than made up for it across all of those first 6 rounds. So that to me is feeling like a little bit of a boost here for them. And I got to say, winning those last 3 in a row, looking pretty good if you were an Asgard fan. Interesting from both of these teams being, I think, almost entirely French for both of them. So if you're a French fan, hard to pick which team it is you want to see win this one.
Yeah, and I want to point out the kind of trend that we've seen in the rounds that Asgard have won. The aggression and just the confidence has definitely been there, and in a couple of rounds it didn't win. That was one of the main driving forces behind that attacking team and why they were able to win it out. They were outplayed fast, they knew what they needed to take, and as a result they did it. They manifested it very, very well. The rounds in which they were slowed down, the rounds where they were bogged down, they were the big problem. So, going on to this side swap, the question for me, how are we going to see that change? How are we going to see that difference for the side of Team Mxster? Like you say, they've just lost 3 rounds on the go. So they're going to have to try and deal with that and keep that mental there. Mxster's going to be able to find their 11th kill as they open things up and take down Goldie as the entry counterpart on the other side. A very strong start. Is it going to make much difference?
I'm gonna say Don is the reason that Team Mxster is still in this. The individual heroics at this point is keeping this from being nearly a clean sweep. 11 and 5. Boy, Don Vito and Ryan are going to need to try and step up this game a little bit. Really, the rest of this team to try and keep them alive. And another one, a 12 to add to that kill count. Unbelievable. Making this very tough here for Asgard, but you can't sustain that over a best of 3. This team has got to come together in a different way and not rely on that individual effort.
Exactly, and the question of whether they'll be able to do it, like you say, is this round, because this is where they're really going to need to show that. Now, again, like we saw on the other side of the attack, Ash goes down below, gets up, breach, and that wall opens up. It's another aspect of the attackers to open that line of sight. The verticality is there, and they do have Ishiro playing nearby to try and stop things out, but that's been made as a vault hole. They spot the bandit playing there, they might go for a swing, but they don't need to, because if the attackers want to get aggressive on that position, they need to go into the vault animation. That is a lot less appealing for an attacker than if it was just a straight swing, if they could just run straight in. The rest of the attacking side, though, starting to slow things down. 1:15 on the clock, and the util is still there. They still have a number of flashbangs, a number of impact EMPs, and all 3 of those Grim Bees in pocket. So now the question is, with the 1 minute remaining in a 4 versus 3, how is that going to get used? How are they going to focus it? Mxster's able to find another pick, finding a 3rd kill in this round. Will not be able to find a 4th as a swing from Yashiro finds an answer. But in a 3 versus 2, the attackers will have to push forward. They're all over towards this admin side, and the defense know it completely.
Both of the defenders playing on those mirror windows, that is, I think, going to be one of the most difficult things that this attacking team is going to have to deal with. No Ash, no ace charges available to try and open those pieces up. Even with some intel, they still have got great cover here.
Yep, and the frag will come out for Vito now. This pushes Iron Velito into a very difficult situation. The plan starts to go down, and the angle is held by Ryan, who's able to find the kill. And I think that Goyo canister could have been popped a lot sooner, but it just wasn't. Two of them in pocket there. I feel like that might have been a bit of a misplay, because it's the time denial, isn't it?
Yeah, a huge misplay there by the Bandit playing on the mirror window. I think as soon as they realized that the attackers were pushing from the admin side and not up the yellow stairs side, Bandit needed to rotate around and play off the mirror from the other side, open up the Goyo canisters, like you said, go with the time delay as that option, rather than just let it all happen, let them get the plant down and get the kill off the back of it, as it looked like he was trying to rotate around to the other side at too late in that process. So unfortunate there for the attackers. That is Asgard, uh, or unfortunate for the defenders. Asgard losing another one, getting a little bit closer there for Team Master.
Yeah, now that must have felt good getting back into the swing of things for the side of Master, because like I said, 3 rounds on the go. Going onto the attack, they were a lot more confident on that one. They were able to get that opening pick onto Goldies as well, which just made things so much easier. The big thing for me on this one is that both teams in their map picks have decided to take that attacking side. So this is Master's pick, and Asgard decided they wanted to take that attack. I feel like a lot of these teams are very aggressive and very confident in their gunfight abilities, so that's why they might be doing that. And I feel like combine that with the kind of weighted percentage that we're seeing in the maps in the side picks, I feel like that might be a big factor where both teams are saying, okay, well, we just got to get to the attack. We're confident with the attack, and what feels like a far cry from 2 or 3 years ago, the 20-second meta is very much we'll just get through the defense rounds. We don't need them. We'll just focus on the attack, make sure that works. Everyone knows how to defend in comp anyway, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. For sure, it feels like we're in the defensive meta of Siege, and for a team to say, "All right, we want to try and just make it through and get onto our attacking side." Sometimes it can feel like when you're playing attack over and over and over again that it feels very, very difficult. Defense
Mm.
is the easier side. So many maps here in the ESA Season 9 have a little bit of that defensive weight, but right now, aggression certainly playing in favor of this team Asgard, and I think even see them be the question is, are they going to be a little bit overconfident on their defensive side? There's a lot of opportunities to throw rounds if you're playing on defense and over peaking your position, over peaking that spawn, like we saw at Goyo downstairs in the lobby immediately there on that first round. So you got to dial it back to that right level of aggression to keep the attackers on their toes, but not throw rounds away.
Yeah, because I think the way that this kind of sums up quite nicely, the defenders decide how the fights go and where they take place. The attackers kind of decide when and how the pacing goes. Having an attacking lineup that's very aggressive can be a good thing. On the defense, it can be a good but a bad thing as well. Knowing when to peak, knowing where to position yourself aggressively. Being aggressive and playing aggressively does not just mean swing everything. It means holding the positions. It means holding specific areas, making sure that how you're playing is measured but still effective. But we are going to be taking a short break before we do get back to this game, because we are going to have to rehost and replay this round. So we won't be going anywhere, to make sure you don't either. We'll be back soon.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the ESA Season 9 round of Swiss between Team Asgard and Team Master. A little bit of a rehost there back on round 7-4, as we learned an illegal drone skin. We're going to replay round 7, so we are back at 4-2 there with Team Asgard, edging just a little bit over Team Master there on their attacking half. A little bit surprising, so walking into this, what do you think is going to change up here for a Team Master, McCready?
Hopefully, kind of what we were discussing for Master, I feel like they're going to try and stick to the same things. They got that opening pick. They took a lot of control. Their aggression was good, and they were able to really isolate a couple of these roamers and really deal with them quite nicely. Asgard has decided that I'm looking to see adaptations on this one, Whiskey, because I'm looking to see this team rein it in a little bit more. Like we see, they've already stopped having that roamer down below. They have somebody in admin who is going to be able to win that gunfight, but that's not necessarily playing aggressive by swinging everything. So that's already listening to what we said. Realistically, for Asgard, they're going to take this and run with it. Should not realistically have this round to play again. Tom is able to find another pick, though, as Esther will find that kill, and Esther's looking to get another. It's going to be Yashiro finding that player down, and what feels like a entire switch up from the last time we were here. Tom's going to find a third kill in the round. As Clem's left alone outside that breach, will find the head of Yashiro. The breach is still just a head hold. It's just a line of sight. They haven't got any real entry round to sign here, Whiskey. This round feels as good as done, and for the side of Asgard, you cannot complain, because that is 3-4, now possibly 2-5.
Yeah, unfortunate too for Team Master, right? Before the rehost, they won this one. They had shut it down. It seemed like they had, gained a little bit of momentum coming back from this, but the rehost certainly here in favor of Asgard, as now they picked this one up. And even though, yeah, Tom picking up 3K to start this thing off, the real loss, unfortunately, losing the stats for Don Esta. I think he was at 12-5 back during round 7 before we got the rehost. Yeah. So as long as Team Asgard doesn't throw bodies at this, they're almost certainly going to win it, including playing music with the bullets on the wall.
I mean, it doesn't matter as long as you have some ammo, I guess, but realistically, a minute on the clock for the side of Clem, they're just going to be sitting and thinking, all right, what's happened? What's happened between these rounds? What was the big change? And I feel like it wasn't necessarily a change from Master. It was just a change from Asgard. They decided that they were going to play differently. They weren't going to get as aggressive from the get-go. They were just going to be a lot tighter. And then Tom was able to pull out a massive round, to be fair to them. So I feel like in terms of what Master can do next round is, I feel like just focus on the roam clear, just reset for the next one. That round's done now, Whiskey. Like, we can't undo it again. We can't replay it again as far as we know. But now, realistically, they've got to move on.
And when you see one of the teams take sort of a timeout like this, right, during the rehost, when one of the players goes down, sometimes it's a bit chaotic. You're working on getting in the lobby, getting some invites. It's not really truly a timeout in the same way you see when a team takes a tactical timeout for a tech issue. So in this case, Team Master getting a little bit of a faux timeout there for longer than they would if they took the tech timeout. So plenty of time to sit there and talk about it. And like you said, love to see them continue to try and at least play aggressively. And if they can avoid the end of Tom's barrel, maybe they can stay alive just a little bit longer.
Yeah, again, like I said, it was an aggressive position down the main lobby. That just didn't work out. But it was a lot more considered over towards admin side. They were playing a lot more carefully. There were people there to refrag. It wasn't as bad if they lost that gunfight in that situation because there were people there ready to respond. For the side of Asgard, winning that first defensive round, now they're going to head down below. The big thing for me is how these roamers are going to play in. On the attacking side, Asgard didn't have a massive focus on the verticality on this site. So the question is, how are they going to deal with that? Are they going to bring that into play? With a Solus on the board, that is something they can decide to do. Alongside maybe Legion using that secondary shotgun. I don't expect to see much of it, and that's why I feel Team Master, with the lineup they brought, they're looking to focus on the verticality, and I feel like that might be just what they need, as long as they can deal with the early roamers.
Well, and we saw Asgard struggle with the verticality on their attacking half, so if they're not prepared to deal with a vertical attack from the attacking team themselves, that can certainly make this much easier there for Team Master. Hopefully a little bit of a boost. And the other thing I feel like you're seeing from this team is, on the defensive side, they don't have the Mira and don't have the Azami, right? Two of the really great operators for trying to hold down this basement site, neither of them on the board. That to me feels like a boost here for Team Master as well. Those two things combined could put them over the top here as they now try to shut down this 4 in a row for Asgard.
Yeah, now 2 kills coming out, each for 1 each for each side. So Goldies and Tajima taken down. Now Solace, that is an operator to take down for the late round, especially considering the verticality. But Nomad as well, for the exact same reason. With that Nomad off the board, it means that operators like Yashiro can do exactly this. They can jump out, try and get the pick, but Don Vito able to run down those stairs and just get to safety, able to have that alert, and just to turn the guns, take that gunfight. I can't believe we saw that from Yashiro. We just talked about being smart with your positioning, and I don't feel like that was it. I feel like just maybe taking the fact that Nomad is dead and just running with it, thinking about the staircases, thinking about the layout. That might have been the best thing to do. Now, is it going to have much impact? We're not going to find out. But Asgard do at least have that safety net of a couple of rounds, 3 rounds in advance.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Yoshiro, I mean, taking the initiative, working for it, but then not rushing the position to try to get the kill from the element of surprise. Just sort of slowed down and made the slow approach, allowed the attackers time to recognize what was happening, turn around and take the shot. So I think really a missed opportunity there from Yoshiro and Asgard to try and take advantage of what was a very aggressive play. Maybe they didn't need to, but if you're going to, lean into it.
Yeah, now, as we see it in the 2 versus 4, the defenders really have to bring something big to keep this round in it for them. That's going to be Rand taken off the board. Cisno close with the shotgun. Isn't going to be able to find the kill, but the information's there. The Flames are backing them up, and Velto gets a kill as well. Don Vito puts us in a 2 versus 1, but time is ticking. And with the Yokais, they can still sit there with those Goyo canisters and stop a plank going down. It's not going to happen, though, because Don Vito gets the swing, gets the pick, and gets the round in favor of Team Mxster, and what feels like a round they should have had a long time ago.
Boy, all the stuff that we talked about, we're leading towards Team Mxster having an advantage rolling into that round. The lack of the Azami, the lack of the Mira on the defensive side, and it really felt like we were seeing this attacking team punish them for that. But then here, Senzo missing, just whiffing on all of his shots with the shotgun. You know, he should have at least got one, maybe a 2K out of that engagement. Completely fell apart there for this defending team. Gonna try it again though. Go back to the basement. I think they can with a little bit to change up in the way that site was played. But again, they're gonna leave off 2 of those operators. They're gonna switch out the Solus though. Trade up for the area denial of the smoke.
I feel like that makes sense. With the Solus, they didn't really get much utility out of it. And that play was taken off straight away when Goldies was running. Yes, they got a kill, but they didn't have anything else to get off it. Tom then will bring out that smoke. He brings that Tauntanar. That was something that was really keeping them alive at that round. So that was, I feel like this is the right choice. Combine that with that Goyo, combine that with the Yokai. It can make things a lot easier for this defensive side. Again, though, it's going to be verticality for me. We can see Don Vito and Nesta already rotating over towards that CEO side. They're going to try and take top floor control very quickly, start looking towards that verticality and open things up.
Question, leaning into the verticality, yes or no, and at least staying alive a little bit longer. Now we're 30 seconds into this round, all 10 still alive in the lobby. I don't think we've had many rounds where we've really seen that. We're almost always seeing some pretty early engagements on both sides of this map. So working on gaining vertical control, and you can see from the defender positionings, everybody downstairs in the basement, with the exception of that smoke. And the roaming smoke, definitely interesting, and obviously TK, super unfortunate there for the team Asgard, but to have the roaming smoke out, you know, if you were gonna pick an operator to do the roam, it's pretty rare that smoke with that M590 shotgun is the one to do it.
Yeah, I might put the Goyo or the Blitz or the Legion to look at doing that. That they haven't. In this case, so the breach is open, the verticality has begun, and Ryan's able to find a kill onto Tom J, taking down that roaming smoke, like you say, and now start to deal with that entire roaming presence. There's nothing left, which means the attackers have a clean shot onto site. Goldies is going to be able to make that a little bit harder. Finding Clem, looks for another kill over towards Yellow, does a lot of damage to Esther, but isn't able to close things down just yet. Half the way, and we are seeing Goldies getting a bit aggressive. The breach is open. Why are they able to push that with the verticality? Tajima will find the retribution, will get that refrag, but it feels like it shouldn't have even got to that situation in the first place. Enzo has a chance to rotate that back down to site and get us again in the 2 versus 3. Now, pushing in from this breach, Vito will be aware the drop comes through, and the attackers have now taken the site. It's going to be Don Vito finding a kill. Senzo has one of their own, gets another. Has to look for the third, try and stop this plan from going down, as Don Vito has that case, but they don't know exactly where. The Yokos might not have that position, and on the flip side, Don Vito knows. The yellow pin goes out, the C4 flies, and it isn't going to be the C4 that decides this round, because the gunfire comes out. It doesn't do the damage that is needed, and 20 HP is for Sidno now. Over towards that cafe side, Vito can go for a plant, but aware if they try to, they'll be in a very awkward spot. They spot the head, but they don't pull the trigger. With 30 seconds left, the attackers and defenders both getting very, very anxious here. 20 seconds ticks down. They both know where each other are. The swing comes out from the attackers. They close down the round. And that's one round closer to leveling things out.
I want to say from the defensive side, seeing this one play out, I'm surprised that that they had the area denial of both the smoke and the plant denial of the echo, and really neither were sort of in a position to be able to use their utility in that way. We weren't seeing them play life to try and stay alive long enough to have that utility play the part in the game that it was supposed to, right? Just taking those fights more aggressively and leaving Echo on an island with just him and Bandit downstairs without any real ability to try and deny the plant. That's not working out, I think, the way that Asgard was looking. So
Yeah.
even on a defensive-sided map and defensive-sided in the ESA Season 9, the way this is playing out, both of these teams doing a little bit better on the attacking side than I think we were expecting walking into this one.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that last bit was very heavily directed at Tom J with the roaming smoke on it, because they should have been down on the side. They had other operators to put upstairs. Regardless, like you say now, though, like you say, both teams looking a lot stronger on the attack. This is the one round that Mxster haven't been able to crack on the attack just yet, which means that as they go on the, well, they cracked it once before, and that was the first round that we've forgotten about. We Thanos snapped it, so that's entirely over. A very aggressive lineup being brought out. This might be another yellow push, another yellow rush, or a window pressure. I'm excited to see how this one goes down, Whiskey.
It looked like a hey, look at my shield setup there with two of the attackers coming over to look directly at Blitz, but Warden losing his life early on. Again, one of the main counters to Blitz's utility, losing the Warden early. That is huge. You don't have any of the other operators except for those flashes on Ram again. But definitely unfortunate to go down so early as such an important piece of that defense.
Especially when Blitz is on the board as well, which you're going to see right now. Citadel will get pressured. There will be utility used to get rid of that Melusi Banshee. However, the pressure's going to come from that bathroom window as well, which are able to win the gunfight. That's why the support's rotated to back them up over towards yellow. This means, though, if a push does come from elsewhere, that means two defenders are going to be distracted over towards yellow stairs. The flash comes out, the gunfight comes out. Sinzo isn't taken down. Tajima's unable to lock it down. And while they know where these defenders are playing, with a minute 40 on the clock, they're going to have to push in now. Clem's able to find that kill, will do what Tajima couldn't and take down the Melusi. And that's going to be Iron falling as well. And now as Yashiro gets taken down, the refrag comes out as well. Again, it's the Fenrir of Goldies. Huge step up, but it isn't enough. And that's going to be Team Mxster evening things out and getting a 5 versus 5 in a round that I don't know what we've just watched.
Yeah, that looked like we were going to see Asgard had come back, gained a little bit of traction, found themselves in a 1v1 with the ace down. But unfortunately, that's 2 rounds in a row. We've seen Team Mxster clutch up in a 1v1 at the end, and it really felt like we're seeing Asgard throw those rounds away. You said it, 5-5. They're tied up as we head into round 11 between these two, and it's definitely been more direct engagements across the board. For sure, you're seeing the Blitz, he's going to dictate those direct engagements, but to me, it feels like we're not seeing Asgard play. I guess with enough strategy there to try and hold on to the locations longer, right? Playing life, playing angles, like you said earlier, trying to dictate the place that the engagements are happening. But it's just sort of falling apart and feeling a little bit chaotic right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to agree with you. I mean, imagine if we didn't have that rehose, this would be match point already for Team Mxster. So I feel like at this point, if Team Mxster were able to get this round off the board, Asgard are forced to go down below. And again, they didn't have a great track record with it, because I do not expect to see them going back to that 12th floor site if they're not able to win it. I mean, you can try it. Try it if you get it wrong once. Do not try it another time, because you do not have enough rounds to work with in that regards. And for the side of Asgard, they definitely don't if they get put onto match point. They might have to go to that tertiary bomb site. Well, is that going to happen? Well, we're going to find out one way. And I think Tom losing their life early on in that first round is something we can't afford to repeat.
So We know that that Consulate was the team master map pick. So interesting that they wanted to start here. I think they were very confident on attack running into it. I was wondering if this was an Asgard map pick, whether or not they were prepared for the split site. Consulate, unique in the map pool currently with the only split floor bomb site. Would have loved to have seen that come out here as an
Yeah.
alternative to this, continuing to play the second floor and basement, but it looks like I think we're going to see the standards, and that I think is going to be definitely a problem for Asgard.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I said I wanted to see Tom not be that first pick, and as soon as I said that, the cancer curse hit, and that was the case. Yes, there has now been an answer, and Ran will take it down. That Ran will be taken away as well with the R4C, but Don Esther's still alive, and Don Esther, while they haven't had a great time since the rehost, really a massive driving force from the team to do this, but for the rest of Team Master at the moment, nothing really to work with at the moment. No gunfights taking place as of yet. They haven't really got control of that admin side. They're nearly going to lose Don Esther, but that's not going to happen at the moment. A minute ticking down, and this feels like the most comfortable Asgard have been on the defensive side so far, aside from that first round that they won. Now, though, the question: what is the next step for Team Masters? How are they going to pressure this? They've got player over towards Breach, Spiral, and no doubt over towards that admin side as well.
That Asgard is holding on again, playing less chaotic, holding on to those positions. That was exactly what we talked about them needing to do as we went into this round. Play a little bit slower, play a little bit, play for positioning there. That's working apparently in this team right now. And surprisingly enough, this is the 8th time we've seen the top 4 played out in this game so far. Really crazy how many times with that added rehost. They love the top floor here.
Oh yeah, and you can see exactly why Donis is able to find his second kill. Again, we're finding Asgard on a 2 versus X situation. And again, it's going to be Goldie's able to find a 3rd kill in the round. They're going to look for another 4, but they can't because Tsujima's there. The swing comes out, doesn't find Velito over time, sticking down, and all in favor of Mirror. The information is backing up the attack at 100%, but they're going to try and take the gunfight. They can't get the plant down. The Melusi stops them from getting the kill. And that is going to be Asgard able to just edge things out to match point there, Whiskey.
I thought for a second we're going to see another Master 1v1 attacking win for their, what was that, be almost 4th in a row there.
Yeah.
If they had managed to pull that off, that would have been wild. But unfortunately for that Team Master, or fortunately if you're an Asgard fan, Mira just running down the stairs and getting shot in the shoulder for her effort in surviving just barely with just enough time. I mean, sometimes time is the 6th man there for the defense, and he showed up to help them win. Got one more opportunity now for this attacking team. They've been dominant. They've been confident playing on this. Got to do it one more time here to send us to OT on this map 1.
I can't believe what we've just seen. And like you say, though, Asgard, this is a must round for them. They haven't been able to win it once on the defense. So now in this situation, it's looking like we are going to see an OT if you look at the stats. And I feel like, again, Team Master, they're able to bring it down to these 1v1 situations. It's just that one time they weren't able to lock it down. For me, Asgard need to rein it in a little bit. Because we talked about aggressive positioning, we talked about aggressive swinging, everything. And then we also talked about, say, Yashira just jumping out. I need to see them rein it in a little bit. Have a bit of roam presence, yes. But they're going a little bit too far either way. They're either not doing it enough, or they're doing it a little bit too much, or a little bit too crazy with it. The side of Team Master, just go do their droning through. They have all that vertical operators ready to hand. They just need to make sure that they do the basics right, and continue to do what they've done before, and we will see overtime.
I was going to say, we're going to see this Legion upstairs on this first floor try and put some pressure on. We know that the defenders need to gain a little bit of first floor control to have something happen, and that's it. That is the defense upstairs on the first floor. The only ability they had to try and slow down a vertical play in the piano, done dusted. Unfortunate there. It was definitely giving a little bit of boost here to this team Master. I was gonna say a little bit of advantage to Asgard to start this off was we saw they got to see how Team Master approached it twice
Yeah.
before. So they had the opportunity of some intel and some knowledge about how the round was going to play out, but to lose Legion early to go down, that is seriously unfortunate for this team. It looks like we might be going to OT unless Asgard can show up in this 4v5.
Yeah, and they need to do something we haven't seen them do just yet, which is bring this bottom floor back from the defeat. They've come close, they just haven't been there. Now the breach is open again, and we are seeing the bandit play in this pillar position. Will be droned out, so now the verticality is going to make it a lot harder. This means they have to rotate around to yellow. They need to try and think about how they can get this round back in their control. Before Sinzo got taken out by that flank watch, the HP advantage was actually in their favor. Now, though, we're going to see Yashiro walking up those secret stairs. Will be taken out by Estes on the flank watch.
Wow.
And I think we're seeing a little bit where Asgard are taking a little bit too much for granted. Goldies, though, has been able to make it up those yellow stairs. Is somebody watching? Is their flank watch there? Not just yet. That's a quick pick, and will take down Don Vito. Will look for a second. Isn't able to find it. If they run down these yellow stairs, they get back to sight. That's gonna be Velto able to even things out, a 3 versus 3 as the last 40 seconds approaching. This is the opportunity now for Asgard. That was a huge play, and they've got away scot-free. The verticality is still there. The drop on the hatch can still come through, but they need to be aware that that player can be playing from yellow. Now they definitely are, but a kill comes out from Goldies. Finds Reynolds to the hatch. The breach pressure will come through as Clem's able to find that frag, but the refrag's there from Tom. Now alive in the end of a round. Something I've missed. I've missed it so much. But Tajima has the answer. It's Vito and Tajima all over again. But this time, 10 seconds left. They have the yokai. They use the scan. They give it away. They want the gunfight. And they're going to be able to win it when they should have just sat there and waited to use the yokai. They decided they're going to win this map, and they're going to do it in style. Consulate going in their favor.
7-5 victory there for this Asgard team. Wow, well played at the end in a 4v5 with a minute and a half left in that round. Thought for a second we were not going to see that happen. And Don Estes, 6-5, the top frag there. And to add that, the pre-rehost, he was at 13. So 13 and 6 is final. Unbelievable there, kill count for him, and a great job by that team.
Yeah, very, very good start for both teams, because I feel like Asgard, they've really got the X factor when they're playing things right. Mxster, they've got a really good base. They've got really good consistency. The flank watch, that's something I can only commend in that last round especially, because it's an area they've been able to pick Asgard up on quite a few times. Very happy to see that game get as close as it was. I'm kind of disappointed we didn't see the overtime. It felt like that round was Masters pretty much all the way until the last 30 seconds. But, well, we do still have Chalet, isn't that right?
That's right. My favorite map, getting a chance to see it. Very much looking forward to see how these two French teams going to do battle here on map 2 of this best of 3. So, quick break to get us set up and ready for that map, but really looking forward to it. What's up, fellow spectators and players for Rainbow Six Siege? We are here for the ESA Season 9, ESA Cup Season 9, and already one map done out of this best of 3, 7-5 victory there for Team Asgard. And what did you think, my friend?
I feel like it was such a tight game, and honestly, it felt like one that we deserved the overtime on. A Master deserved overtime for. That hasn't happened. Asgard were able to win it 7-5, and that means we are going to be moving on to our second map, your favourite one, Whiskey, Chalet. So why don't we talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, Chalet. And this is a map. We talked a lot about vertical presence in Consulate, but this one for sure has really taken the cake. The big 3-floor map with bomb sites that two of those first floors that typically get a lot of play. And we had seen that slow to adopt early on in the year, at the end of year 8. But as we've rolled into year 9, those first floor bomb sites continue to be an important part. And the vertical play between them is an important way that this one's played out. So the question here will be which team can sort of take advantage and move and turn those into round wins. Right now, based on how we saw Consulate play out, Asgard struggled with that a little bit. So since this
Yeah.
one, Master now looking for a little bit of revenge, I think this could be their map.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I mean, we're seeing that multi-ban. That's nothing special. Let's be honest. I feel like Asgard, this is where they're probably going to struggle, is dealing with that verticality. Like you say, it's something that Master might be able to try and really take advantage of when they go in on their attack first. So get in, get that verticality, win these gunfights. Let's have, I think, as well as that, a bit more tightness on the flank, which I praised it before. But there were some lapses where massive players were able to come out from the side of Asgard and even costing that first map because some players were able to sneak by. Dogby again going to be taken away, so a lot of information denial removed, as well as that terrifying boss GACOG, as will Vigil as well. So two very heavy intel operators in regards to how their gadget works, or kind of no intel if you'd like for Vigil, both taken off the board.
Well, and with Siege being a one-shot headshot game, the Boss G certainly occupies an interesting space where it's basically a one-shot down to the body, which gives a significantly more room to play in terms of the whoever is running that gun, right? You don't have to hit the pixel or two
Hmm.
that is somebody's head across the map. You can hit a shoulder, you can hit a body and do significant damage. And I think really in the console scene, that feels like it's even a little bit overpowered compared to PC, but certainly
Hmm.
overpowered in general enough for that the same set of operators to be
Defenders,
banned
protect your bombs
on
from being
both maps.
defused by
These teams
attackers.
feeling very comfortable with the lineup of operators that are available, that they want to keep available. So seems to me more that's a more comfort rather than specific for the map.
I think with a team like Asgard, the way that we kind of seen them deal with verticality, the way that they've avoided it, so to speak, is where I feel that Valk bands come through. They don't want to worry about these C4s and the verticality. They don't want to worry about flankers, players being able to flank them. So that's why that Valkyrie's taken off the board. Now they're going to start on this top floor site. Like you say,
10
this is
seconds
one that
remaining.
doesn't have as much focus on verticality, but for an attacking team that wants
5
to
seconds
utilize it,
left.
it certainly can come through. Most teams, though, will typically look to take control of that library side, get control of
Locate a bomb and
mezzanine,
defuse it.
push towards that piano hallway, and maybe that K9 flip door, then start executing on the site. Other teams might just look for a solo rush, very aggressive pressure. That might be the case. Enzo, will be looking for this very first kill over towards that K9 door. Isn't going to be able to find it just yet, because, well, the attackers still have to get to the site. But it is going to be Ryan able to
Oh,
get taken down by Goldies. The droning wasn't there to know that that player was there, but also the angle, the upside down rappel, that's incredibly difficult to maneuver on, especially when you're trying to take a gunfight as well with someone you didn't even expect to be there. A very strong opener for Asgard there.
I love the upside down rappel angle there on that library window, but like you said, with the lack of intel and going for it immediately, that was unfortunate. And just it seems like we are seeing this across the board in both of these maps so far. Early engagements, right? We're not
Yeah.
seeing either of these teams spend a lot of time working on the tactical aspect of siege, right? We're not seeing utility clear, lines of sight opening. I mean, we're just going for gunfights to start this thing off and running across the library. I mean, unless they've got maybe a little bit more knowledge than I think we're expecting at this point, it certainly feels like they're playing very aggressively and careless isn't the right word, but it could turn into that.
Yeah. Now what we are seeing is Don Vito getting taken down by the player of Yashiro on that breach,
Wow.
able to find the kill from the half wall, not being covered out by Clem. And as a result, as the breach opens, and it's actually a little bugged, I think. The yokai drones will come through, get that information, and will facilitate those gunfights, like you say.
He
Now,
missed
Clem
it.
really doesn't want to go for that push. It does a little bit of impact, but it is going to be the run out from Enzo trying to find that kill. That is not going to land at the moment. A minute on the clock, that yokai will hit this time. But as Tsushima gets down from the piano window, it isn't going to be another kill in favor of the attackers. The defense are very comfortable around to close things down, and like you say, very frag-heavy gunfights. So not really much focus on kind of that methodical approach a lot of teams tend to favor. Just focusing on getting the gunfights, winning them out, and then taking whatever advantage you get from that.
Right, where you had a bulletproof cam that was up, taking a bunch of giving a bunch of intel. The yokai drones, right? No focus on trying to clear any of that out. They were
Defenders,
walking
protect
right
your bombs
into a
from being
trap,
defused by
Yep.
and
attackers.
the defense completely made them pay for it. Take the first round here on Shelly to start with, and Master's going to need to show up significantly more on this map, if they're even thinking about going to a map 3 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple things, Whiskey, because we look at that first engagement, there wasn't any information. That is the first kind of red flag for myself. Then we look at the actual gunfight that was taken. I mean, that was opened up and Rand was taking a gunfight upside down on double window. There is another window, remember, that single window that somebody can easily go into crossfire and can get goldies off the board as soon as that comes out. At the worst case, a refrag. At the best case, they can stop that player from getting taken down. Instead, Goldie was able to run away, get another kill, and really give a massive advantage to Asgard before Mxster were even able to step inside the building, which they very much struggled to do. Now it is going to be Don Vito finding the opening pick as they take down Don Esther, which... That's Flores. That's a bad start. I think Mxster might be a little rattled from that now.
I literally was just about to say, I love the change up here from the Mxster side, bringing out the Flores and trying to work on clearing some of the utility like we just talked about. Boy, those deployable shields now going to be much more difficult. No Ash, no Ace, no Flores to be able to try and take those down. Those pieces of bulletproof utility are going to be stuck there. And then if you're just going to go ahead and jump in without intel of who's playing downstairs in stock, it's all going to fall apart for this team, where this round looks like a GG go next.
I mean, yeah, Don Vito is able to find goldies, and Don Vito gets taken down as a result. Rand's able to find a refrag, takes away Tom. But a 3 versus 2, it feels like it is been entirely Asgard's game so far. Remember, this is a top floor site, so all the time that they're wasting at the moment is even better, because in the last 30 seconds, those defenders drop downstairs, and then it's, you know, it's a second floor site. At the moment, they just hold this top floor. If they don't get pushed out, they have verticality to work with Yashiro's secondary shotgun. Half the round has gone, and I feel like we're seeing drones going in, sitting on hatches that are open, not looking through the hatches. And I feel like Mxster might be a little bit more rattled than I actually thought. Asgard will be looking to just shut things down. Now, there's only one player difference in the scoreline, but this doesn't mean it's all entirely that close. Time ticking down, the verticality, like we say, in favor of the defense, and with the ACOG taking that gunfight run is not in a good spot to take it on their own.
Yeah, you've got both of the attackers outside of the site right now, and nobody pushing the vertical. No one bringing any of this fight to the Frost who's playing upstairs in the office, watching the walk in. They're just content to sit. You've got 48 seconds left. Yeah, you can work on gaining some intel. Okay, you've got the Echo and the Azami playing downstairs, but nobody pushing the Frost. That seems like a huge misstep here.
Yeah, because you can see right now there's verticality, and they are going to make use of it, because you see that wall is open over towards that hallway, and as a result, Yashiro isn't going to be shooting straight down, they're going to be shooting alongside. Now the pressure starts to come out. Yashiro doesn't know the player's up there. As Clem finds that kill, now Ron's going to have to push forward. 20 seconds left, but I don't even think that hatch is open. I don't think they can drop down. And with Iron and Enzo are both still alive. They're both very comfortable. 8 seconds left. Ren will push in, finds one kill. The refrag is there from Vento. And it's all down to this Echo. They have to waste this time. They're going to win it with that bearing 12. And they will shut down the round. It was brought closer by Mxster, but it just wasn't meant to be. They couldn't get it over the line.
It certainly made it much closer than I was expecting. With 48 seconds left, 3 defenders holding on, neither of the attackers pushing the vertical play upstairs. I'm thinking, okay, 48 seconds is certainly not enough time. Then Azami pops that Goyo canister and completely shuts off that entry into the kitchen until those last 10 seconds. Then Mxster go ahead and starts to show up. They go vertical. They take down one of the defenders, put it into a 2v1, 1v1, and then it looked like they might actually win it. Not enough time, though. You're having to rush. You're having to push. They needed to do that 10, maybe 15 seconds earlier to try and take advantage of maybe some intel rather than just trying to push the gunfight. But that is certainly the name of this game, the way it's played out.
Yeah.
Gunfights over utility, aggression over strategy.
I'm in shock. Again, that we're seeing a round get that close from where it was, but it was so defender-sided.
5 seconds to go.
To bring it that close, again, for Asgard to be able to win that out, I mean, a huge effort there from Velito. Ultimately, that round was over a lot sooner than it was over a lot sooner than that. and Mxster were able to bring it back. They need to be able to do this again. Now, this site, Bar Games, is going to be a very big shift in how the defenders are going to play, how they're going to be positioned, and where they're going to focus on. A lot of focus normally is directed towards the piano hallway side. If they're able to clear out the defenders over towards that position, at CEO side, then that can really open things up. We'll do a bit of damage to Yashiro, but they're just going to rotate down. They've got a dock on side. That's not really going to be a problem. Again, we are going to see Enzo sat in library. Another defender sat there, which I don't think has been spot up. It will be now. And they'll be able to drop down. That window is covered. And it means that that's a very nice one, because even if they didn't drop that hatch, they still have that cover from a single window. The attackers have to clear out that library side now.
I'm reloading.
We're seeing this one develop. Interesting. Again, 1 minute into this round, and all 10 in the lobby feels like one of the slower rounds, and that almost is funny to say at this point, that only a minute and having all 10 is surprising at this point, but definitely more verticality and more roam game you hear from this defense. You know, you have 3 upstairs on the 2F when a bomb site is in the basement. That's a heavy commitment to this roam game, and making Team Mxster pay for it early. That's the ash down. Those mirror windows going to be able to stay up, and the flank from Gridlock. Well, it's all falling apart a little early.
Yeah, now Goldie's does get taken down, but again, like the first round, 2 picks on the board, Ash and Gridlock. Like you say, important operators, especially with the util left on the board, especially those Azamis. And it feels like it might be a little bit too late for Mxster as they're able to find that pick, because now the rest of the defense know where they are. Tom, over towards that main lobby, full HP, will just back things off. Yashiro has retaken top floor control, and that means that as time ticks on to a minute left, Asgard Mxster have a big hill to climb. Have they got their hiking shoes on? Well, we're about to find out. I know Clem does, but they've only got 10 HP left, which means even barbed wire might be able to take them down. It's going to be Don Vito the next to fall as time ticks down. Tom able to find that pick, will rotate around, and realistically, they're just going to play for every second they can get, because that's all they need. That is all that Asgard need. They just need to stay alive. It's going to be stopped by Tajimo. Clem will be picked off by Yashiro, who has that answer. And now the Flores all by themselves. You said you'd like to see this operator. We didn't really feel like we saw much use out of it as they get picked off from blue stairs.
Yeah, I'd like to see him as an operator using to clear out utility, using his ability to try and help this attacking team gain some ground, gain some safe package. But as just an operator with a gun, you know, he's middle of the pack. It'd be, you know, I think there's better entry operators who are just going to go ahead and take gunfights. So
Yeah.
definitely unfortunate. And Asgard right now is dominating the first half of this map. We're still early, right? If you're just joining us, obviously welcome here to the ESA Season 9. Question on your mind may be, boy, what are we watching? Asgard has come up with some great rounds. They've come up with some very close rounds. But overall, they have been at least slightly better than Team Mxster across the board in a variety of metrics, and they're holding on and turning those into round wins here on Chalet.
Yeah, and I feel like it's these early gun fights. We keep coming back to them, Whiskey, because they are so defining. Because when these things go right for whatever team, it just goes right. It just snowballs, and they're just able to keep going. And at the moment, more often than not, it's been Asgard, because like you see, 3 rounds on the board. They've had those opening picks. They've had Goldies being able to find 2 kills, and then yeah, they get refragged. But who cares at that point? It's a defensive side. You've done so much damage already. It's a very, very difficult thing to come back from now. A little bit of adaptation from Mxster. They're realizing there might be somebody down below, and they've realized that there is. It's Goldie sat in that game's area. Now, just by shooting this, it makes Goldies aware that they know. They know that Goldies is there, and they're going to try and push them out. Which means they are going to rotate, and it feels like the attackers will not lose any players so far. Just pause in there for the dramatic timing to fill in Whiskey. But it seems like they're going to be alright as they move in.
Yeah, taking a little bit of time to work on figuring out what's the right way to enter in. But I mean, look at this. There's still a minute into this. Flores has still got four of his drones in pocket, all of Gridlock's utility, all of Ace's utility. They're not using any of this to try and gain some ground. And we've got to work on getting these sightlines open up early to try and force the defenders out of some of these power positions. And again, we're just running in without using that utility.
Yeah, a minute off the clock, because it's not wasted time if you're using it, if you're getting rid of utility, if you're forcing people out of position. It's not wasted time if you're droning. It is if you just sat there waiting, and it feels like that's something we've seen a little bit too much from both sides on the attack. Now though, looks like Tom waiting on this window will be pushed out of piano, will not be taken down, will not be taking gunfights. That's going to be on Enzo, who's able to find, but barely get the kill onto Ran to get that player advantage.
Doing?
Oh, the gridlock. I get what they're doing, we're trying to sprint, and it almost worked, but they weren't able to find it. Esther, the knock, will be picked off, and now Clem's going to start walking into this half wall. The player of Flores on the piano window will be looking to cover the cross, but because Goldies is there, able to find the kill, they're going to be left as last man standing, and Asgard get a 4th round on the defense on the chop. Last map, attacker sided. You can't deny that, Whiskey. This map, it's going the opposite way. It's fully defender.
Yeah, fully defender-sided and fully Asgard-sided. That's 4 in a row. The complete round rotate. They won all 3 of the major sites. Now they're going back through it and winning them all again, and doing it in dramatic fashion. Again, you had Flores with 3 of those drones in pocket going down, dying, unfortunately. You had Gridlock, right, could have tossed one of her piece of utility to try and prevent the run out there from Azami. We had seen Azami play on that fluke door, like pressuring the attacking team over the course of several of these rounds, but she just repels in right into the waiting gun there of Azami and looks lost. She's trying to get away from that attack, or not even really firing back or engaging in it, so just absolutely falling apart. And Don Esta, I think, is the main one we got to see from this Master team step up. Talked about him having 19 kills on map 1. He showed up with 1 over 4 rounds so far. If there's someone that needs to get active, we said Master could not rely on the individual heroics, and it's showing right now. So either the individual heroics need to show up, or they need to start playing together better as a team.
Either one, Team Master would be looking for at this exact second. Tajima will find Goldies. The first bit of good luck that seems to have come out for them on the side of Chalet. Rand takes a bit of damage to Tom, and he's just going to back away and play it safe, because now that first goal is taken down, they don't really want to risk anything. Tajima, though, will even things out, getting a 4 versus 4, that advantage of player count. He's taken away almost immediately, and there's a lot of damage done onto a couple of these other attackers and defenders, but nothing really concrete, which means Tom, down on that HP, they're just going to have to wait, because that is a deposit for the attackers. They'll cash that in later with a little bit of damage onto that defender. This top floor, a lot more aggressive, a lot more presence from the side of Master already at this point, isn't there?
Yeah, there certainly is. And we talked about it the last round when we said 1 minute into the round, all 10 left alive. Seemed like a bit of a stretch here. We've already got 3 dead and 2 on very low health. So we've only got 4 full health operators there with 2 full minutes left in this round. So this is more typical of what we've seen play out. Very aggressive play style, just direct engagements, fighting for it again. Ash has still got 2 of those charges left in pocket, 2 thermites. Let's use some of this utility and put some pressure on this defense.
Yeah, well, those Ash charges are going to stay in pocket because that C4 comes out and is able to find that kill. Enzo going to be able to pick them off. The Bandit charge will go out over towards that library side. Half the round is left, and you've got to remember, like I said, the last 30 seconds with Whiskey is a bottom for the defense. Until then, you stay up top. Every second you earn is massive. Don Aston, like you said, you wanted to see them step up, has been able to sneak their way into the site in dining. The breach upstairs does get opened, and now might be a great time for Don Aston to catch a player trying to rotate back to site. But they looked where they were a second, they didn't spot them. So now they're just a little bit closer to the enemy than the rest of their team, which means it's going to be a lot more awkward to take these gunfights. As Enzo's going to be able to find it, Esther gets the kill. Only 2 more defenders remain. Like we said, Tom's on such low HP. With 40 seconds left, they're going to make the verticality to play from. They have Vito with those yokais. They're going to be able to find that kill onto Don Esther. It's all down to Vito and right now. The verticality still in favor of the defense. We saw it get changed by the attackers, which is why Tom is not waiting around. Will be going on that flank. Will be looking to get the kill from that position. And as Tom gets taken down, though, it's all down to Vito. This time, they're going to try to take that gunfight and not use the yokai, but this time, it's not going to work out. Very aggressive use of that drone there.
Well played there on the attacker's side. Finally able to win a round here as we made it all the way to round 5 before they were able to stop the onslaught of the Asgard defense. And it was certainly much closer than expected. A little bit of a misstep there on the defensive side. Watching Don Esta walk right up into sight, playing the Nook, able to get a kill off the flank. And right now, gain a. They got the thermite with the wall open into the dining room, open up that sight line to make sure that the defenders couldn't push down the solar stairs, couldn't push up to put pressure on them. Worked out beautifully in the attacker's favor. So that is finally getting won. And we said they needed to play a little bit together better as a team. And you look at those kills spread across the board, very, very even on both of these teams. But unfortunately, one player out at timeout. Oh no. We're going to get a rehost?
I think we might. Now, this happened before, when we saw Team Master winning a round. Hopefully that's not going to happen again. It looks like I say, we're having a timeout just to try and get some tech issues sorted out. Hopefully this isn't going to have another shift in the momentum, because that was a different side for Team Master that we saw. They were aggressive, they were confident, they knew what they needed to do, and they were there to kind of pick up on the mistakes of Asgard. So I feel like that, I just been wondering where that was on Chalet. It was there on Consulate, it was there in that last round. Is it going to stay and continue? Well, with this break, it might not.
It's a good question. And I feel more like we saw Asgard lose that round than Master really win it definitively. So can a question of for Asgard is, are they going to be able to play like they did those first 4 rounds or like that last? So that one felt much more even, and definitely love to see that here in Rainbow Six Siege when you've got two teams playing very closely. Makes it exciting rather than very one-sided. So I'd love to see Master step it up a little bit, put some pressure on this team to try to win one more there, to try to get that standard 4-2 defensive split. And we could be going in the second half of this map much closer, like maybe not the way that it played out, but at least from a scoreline perspective.
Yeah, and I feel like this is where Master, they can take their time. Okay, well, then, right, how do we continue this? How do we keep that confidence? Okay, yeah, like you say, it was more Asgard losing it than Master winning it, but they're going to need that as a mental boost. They've been on that losing streak so far, so coming into this, getting that win on the board, they're going to just try and take everything they can to really just refresh themselves and feel good going into the next game at the moment, in the next couple of rounds. I feel like with this one, the attack is where we'd really want to see Master start to step things up in this last round. We are going to get there, but at the moment we are going to have to take a little bit of a breather before we do, so make sure you don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the rest of this second map for you in no time. Ah, McCready, Whiskey, this isn't the game. What are you talking about? So, we've had a rehost over a protest about Skip. So, this is the second rehost. I'm sure you'll remember, Whiskey, in the first game there was a rehost because of the protest regarding a drone skin that was being used. Now, with our rules that are set out by Ubisoft, which we follow because we're good boys and girls here, the first one was a protest. Now, there was a skin that was used that shouldn't have been used in that round, which has meant that the round was forfeited, which meant that 5-0 in favour of Asgard. On the map is Chalet, Whiskey, and I'll let you take it from there, what happened next.
It's unfortunate, like we talked about, my favorite map. Would have loved to have seen the way that one played out because we finally saw Master start to show a little bit of life going into round 5 after going down 4-0 to start that one off. They finally showed up, exploited some of the pitfalls that Asgard had setting up that round downstairs on the first floor, but to lose it, unfortunately, to a skin. Yeah, unfortunately, Ash running one of the band skins. So a combination of a round loss there, turning it into 5-0 half. Unfortunately, Team Master chosen to forfeit the rest of the game. And since in this best of 3, Asgard had already won Consulate 7-5 to start with, that is going to be a complete victory there for Team Asgard. And since this was an elimination match, we're going to see them move on here in the ESA Cup Season 9 standings and make it into that 3-1 or that 2-2 bracket fighting for that last spot.
Yes, so that is Team Masters joining Pentaclub, Yuck 78 and 141, and E-Wave eliminated so far. Now, there are 3 teams still to be eliminated, 3 teams still to qualify, because, like we said, that isn't the end of the game for Asgard. They still have to win another game, and that is going to go up against MG Minions. So, the next round is kind of decided. We already see 3 teams have already qualified. 6 teams still have to go forward. That's Crown Zero versus Entropy, Molotov Gang versus Aspire, and MG Minions up against Asgard. And I feel like Asgard, they're going to take this. Yeah, they'll be happy that they got this win, and that they were able to. They didn't have to worry about going for maybe a 3rd map. But there's still a lot of work to be done, especially going up against a team like Minions, because Minions have done very well for themselves over the season. So moving forward, I feel like it's only going to get more exciting, because these teams are really, really starting to step things up. The weaker teams will fall whiskey, and that's why there'll be one champion. So I'm going to stop rambling so much on this one, because there's nothing more to really say other than GG to Asgard, and thank you to Masters for playing. That is going to be the end of our stream today, so thank you for joining me, Whiskey, and I hope everyone else enjoys the rest of their day. We'll see you next time.
Let's go.